Hello, team, and welcome to episode 5, If I Had a Nickel. And in this class, we will be discussing the conditionals. It's one tiny little word, if. You've probably seen it before. And we will be seeing the 4 different ways that we can turn this tiny little word into some big English practice. One good question with what if can turn into minutes and hours of conversation. So we will be focusing on how to use it correctly. All right, team. So basically, we have these forms that we can use if with, and we can either start with the condition. If this happens, this will be the result. We can flip it around. This is the result if this happens. And my personal favorite, which is where you can use this to practice outside of class. What if? What if we did this? What would you do if this happened? And with this kind of formula, you can generate infinite amounts of practice, I would say. So let's see the 4 different types of conditionals. And we're going to start with the first one, the scientist, the physicist. We're talking about facts. We're talking about if this happens, this is the result. I'm not talking about today. I'm not talking about tomorrow. I'm not talking about last week. I'm just talking about in general. I'm talking about facts here. With this, we'll be using the present simple together with the present simple. If it rains, the grass gets wet since the beginning of rain. So this is our first conditional, and I usually don't see any problems with it. Now, number 2, any parents out there, you'll recognize this instantly. All right, yeah, I do that. Where if you do this, this will happen. And as soon as we include the word will, you can use going to, but say will is just more common. I'm using it as an example. You are saying this is a possible future. If you do this, this will be the result. And the only difference from the first example is the word will. With the first example, it's just general truths. With this one, you are saying this can be where we end up. This can be a future. All right. Up to there, I usually don't see any problems, but now we're going to get into the trickiest, but also the best one to use for practice, which is the philosopher. This one, sometimes I like to think of it like the fantasy writer. Neil Gaiman says that what if is the beginning of every fantasy story. And here, this is a little bit less intuitive. We will always be using the past tense when we're talking about a hypothetical situation. And what do I mean by hypothetical? It can be something that could happen. If I studied law, I would be a lawyer. Is it impossible? No, but I have not studied law. And we also can use it for the impossible. I guess maybe not completely impossible, but if aliens invaded Earth, I would run for the hills. But it's not a likely. Okay, I'll give you another one. If I were a wizard, I would study at Hogwarts. Magic does not exist as far as I'm aware of. So we can use it for both possible or impossible situations. But what do they have in common? They are not true now. And with this case, you will always use the past tense. And that is usually where I hear mistakes or hear the mistakes my students make. They'll use the present. And together with this little word right here, which is would. If I studied, I would get a good grade on my test. If I played the saxophone, it would be very cool. One day, I will wear one of those jazz player hats with the suspenders, and I will play saxophone like Maggie Simpson, Lisa Simpson. Sorry, Maggie's the baby. But up to there, I hope we're okay. This is usually where you will have the most fun practicing English, these hypothetical, untrue questions. But hold on, because we have one more to go. And this last one, it can often cause some confusion. And this is the pessimist. We'll see in a second why it's the pessimist. And this is about a road not taken, a path that did not happen. And with the example, the hypothetical situation is not true now. With the example of this last conditional, the pessimist, it could have been true. And if you want to test it out, you should kind of be able to answer sarcastically, but it didn't happen. So look at these examples. If we had gone to the party, we would have had fun, but you didn't go. The grass would have gotten wet if it had rained, but it didn't rain. So these are about the roads that were not taken in the past. And maybe you did invest in Bitcoin, and maybe you have a lot of money here, but I did not invest in Bitcoin, unfortunately. So this one, you'll sound a little bit like a crybaby. You won't use it as much, but it also has the most complex structure. Here, we'll be using the past perfect had. If I had studied, if I had been, if I had watched, if I had played, if I had gone, if I had eaten, whatever it is, had with the past participle, this would have happened. So if I had gone to the party, I would have had fun. Yes, have had exists. Miss Alberta, that one's for you. Have had, yes, it does exist. And team, these are basically the 4 formulas. If you go to some English books or online, you will see what is called the mixed conditional. Personally, I think it's a little bit of artistic license. My recommendation, follow this format until you really are comfortable that you completely understand it. Then if you want to change it up on purpose, do that. But until you really are comfortable with this, I would recommend just following the format. Okay, let's see. So this is a really good exercise. You take one simple sentence and you turn it into 4 different variations, one for each of the conditionals. If I don't eat, I get hangry. Yes, for those of you who haven't seen what hangry is, it's a mixture of hungry with angry. I have a 3-year-old daughter, and she definitely gets hangry. She gets kind of into Hulk mode when she is hungry. She doesn't realize it, but maybe all of us do a little bit. I think that's fair. Now, conversation starters. Which one will I pick? What if animals could speak? If animals could speak, I think a lot of job opportunities would change. I think we would have some privacy issues. And I think we, as a species, might dislike some new animals. Now, which would be the most interesting or annoying to talk to? I get the impression birds are very gossipy. They see a lot. So I think birds would be quite annoying. And I would be interested to see what octopuses have to say. They really do seem like aliens. So I would be curious as to what they have to say. So I'm going with that. Most annoying, birds, yes. And the one I would be most interested in hearing about is the octopus. Maybe chihuahuas, and pinchers. I'd be curious why they think they're so strong. They're tiny, but all right. And our challenge: what if's long winding road. So if it really does have to do with creativity, and that's your challenge. Take a look at your life. Do this for fun, not to be a pessimist. And pick one big decision in your life and say, what could have happened? What would have happened if you had gone down another path? All right, team. Thank you. That is it. And I hope to see you in class.